music. Is music haram or halal? What the people of Allah Azza wa Jal say, Ahlullah, what the awliya will say, and how they drive it from the Quran and Sunnah. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal said, فَبَشِّرْ عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. So it's saying here that there is qawl. People might, listen to you, whatever you say, but people will listen to the one who actually speak properly, eloquently, and give, his speech a meaning. Sometimes the talk itself will give you a lot of meanings. When I came to Britain, I did the BLAB exam, the linguistic board, the English language, they tested, gave us 80 questions, 20 questions on the meaning of the word or the sentence, and 20 questions on the intonation of the speaker, 20 questions on the mood of the speaker, and 20 questions on the stress, mood, intonation, comprehension, and something else. So you need, from listening to the person, to know whether he's angry or sad or happy. You need to know whether he's making a statement or he's astonished about something or he's not happy about something, the meaning of it. But the other one also, قال الله تعالى فهم في روضة محبرون يحبرون سورة الروم وما الذين يومئذ يتفرقون فما الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فهم في روضة يحبرون. Those who are believers, they are enjoying themselves in a part of paradise, because القبر إما روضة من رياض الجنة أو حفرة من حفر النار. So Riyadh, enjoying the nice reading of the Quran, nice reading of the poets and things. So one of the things, the Day of Judgment, that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will read Surah Yasin and Allah Azza wa Jalla will read Surah Al-Rahman. So then you will hear how beautiful the Quran is when it's read to you by Allah Azza wa Jalla, when it's read by Muhammad ﷺ. وجاء بالتفسير أن سمعنا وسمع الأشعار بالألحان الطيبة والنغم المرسلة. This is why poetry was accepted by the Prophet ﷺ, because it has a music way, it has a resonance in us, and we enjoy poetry. And poetry actually taken by either those who do the nasheed, they do nasheed in a rhyme way, and they use new musical instrument like daf and things, and used by the pop stars, and they have all other machines and instruments. Now, Ash'ar is saying here, it was said that time of the Prophet ﷺ, poetry, and the Prophet ﷺ was encouraging it, and he never disliked it, he never stopped them doing it, and it is known to be said to make people enjoy the listening. They might or might not understand all the meaning, but they enjoy the listening to it. Encourages you to obey if you know the meaning. Many of the nasheed encourage you to love the Prophet ﷺ, to love Allah Azza wa Jal, to encourage you to do more of the obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal, and lift your status and give you entertainment. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, القلوب جنود القلوب روحوا القلوب ساعة فساعة فإن القلوب إذا كلت عميات. Make your heart enjoy itself 1 hour yes and 1 hour no, ساعة فساعة, because the hearts, when they are bored, إذا كلت عميات, they become blind, they can't see, they can't understand. So make people enjoy the time as well. When I used to go to my teacher's class, we don't have I failed in getting nasheed group. We used to say, do dhikr, and they do nasheed. And then the teacher comes, and then he starts the lesson. So we'll have nasheed. We'll be only enjoying nasheed, already enjoyed it. And here, Kant al-Ansar, they were digging the moat at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Anas ibn Malik said that كانت الأنصار, they were saying a poetry. نحن الذين بايعوا محمدا على الجهاد ما بقينا أبدا. This is a poet, and it has a rhyme, it has a wazn, it's structured. And the Prophet ﷺ answered them, but not poetry, because he wasn't able to say poetry. وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له. Allah said, we didn't teach him the poetry, and he is not supposed to say poetry. He said, commented, he said, اللهم لا عيش إلا عيش الآخرة فأكرم الأنصار والمهاجرة. It sounds like a poet, but it's not, because you don't put the الله لا عيش إلا عيش الآخرة. It doesn't sound, the wazn, they're not like the same, because you have the first line should be exactly the same line. The meter, yeah, it has to have the same wazn, the same length. Like this, نحن الذين بايعوا محمدا على الجهاد ما بقينا أبدا. Here, if you take Allahumma لا عيش إلا عيش الآخرة, you can't take Allahumma, because لا عيش إلا عيش الآخرة doesn't actually addressing Allah Azza wa Jal. فأكرم الأنصار والمهاجرة, similarity between muhajira and akhirah, but this bit from here to here is not the same length like from here to here. They're not just it's close to share, but it's not poetry. And Malik ibn Anas said that وأهل الحجاز كلهم يبيحون الغناء. The people of Hijaz, Mecca and Medina, and they allow ghina, singing, and they used to have somebody who sing in front of the camels, and it gives a comfort to the people in the caravan and the camels. And the hadda, I will tell you later, the hadda will slow down the sing when they want to stop, like winding them down. Yeah. And the Jarih was asked, when you do this nasheed and singing and poetry, will it come under your good deeds or bad deeds? He said neither, because it's not actually, it's something mubah. So you can't come and claim if you say poetry, you will have so many good deeds. But if you are encouraging people to believe, encouraging people to obey Allah Azza wa Jal, you could be rewarded for that. And Ibn Umar روى آثار في إباحة السماع. It's halal to listen to music. And the same Abdullah ibn Ja'far ibn Abi Talib he also agreed. وكذلك عمر رضي الله عنه. They all agreed that yes, you can do the singing in the events and in the caravan. And there were a lot of poetry mentioned at the time of the Prophet in front of him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he never stopped them. He was enjoying it. And here mentioned an event when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came to the house of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and when he came inside, he found that there were two girls singing while Aisha was listening to them, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was like having, like, it seemed like a nap or something, and Abu Bakr like saying, like whispering to Aisha, مزمار الشيطان, Aisha, where is it now? مزمار الشيطان مرتين, مزمار الشيطان, he said to Aisha. And the Prophet ﷺ woke up and turned and he said to him, no, every people have Eid, they enjoy themselves, and now it is our Eid, so it's okay to enjoy. So they carried on singing, and Aisha was, watching them. And Aisha got one of her relatives, got married to somebody from Ansar, and the Prophet ﷺ said, he came and asked, أهديتم فتاة? Gave them gifts and things. They said yes. And he said, have you sent with them somebody to make songs? And she said no. And the Prophet ﷺ said, send, because Al-Ansar, they love singing. And if you send one, tell her to sing like أتيناكم أتيناكم فحيونا نحييكم. We've come to you, greet us, we greet you. ولولا الحلوة السمرة لما كنا بواديكم. So they completed themselves the a poet, but he started the poet himself. No, go and do this thing. And the Prophet ﷺ, Al-Bara ibn Azib said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ said, حسنوا القرآن بأصواتكم. Make the Quran heard nicely with your voice. When they created the radio in Egypt, people were against the radio, broadcasting all these songs and things and haram. And then one of the top scholars, he invited Mashayikh, the scholars, and he put the radio and it was Quran on the radio. He said, is that haram? It's haram to have a radio listening to the Quran. And then they discovered Abdul Basit, Abdul Samad, and Minshawi, and Al-Husari, and there's so many. In fact, they will be reading the Quran in a way so nice that people will be taken with it, even without knowing the meaning. So one guy was reading the ayah ما سلككم في سقر قالوا لم نكن من المصلين ولم نكن نطعم المسكين. What took you to Saqar, hellfire? They said, we were not praying and we were not feeding the needy, and we were just messing about to those who mess about. But he was saying it so nicely. ما سلككم في سقر. Like I don't have the voice, and the guy sitting said, Allah, take us there. he didn't actually know the meaning. He just was taken by the music. The way it is said. If you one of my videos, you see the video in the one on Surah Takwir. It was the Surah Takwir. Abdul Basit was reading it in a Umayyad mosque in Syria, and when he finished the verse, people go, Allah, 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 la ilaha illallah. And those who don't like music, oh, haram, why haram? And I listened to one of them, and I went to the video, and I took out the gaps, made it silent. Till now, I regret it. I should have left it because it's really part of reading Fatiha by Abdul Basit. And what I put there, I put just views from nature and things, swimming, whales swimming, but should actually be, because that's actually taking people really to a higher level. They were really enjoying the listening to the Quran. And Anas bin Malik said, as the Prophet ﷺ said, لكل شيء حلية وحلية القرآن الصوت الحسن. Everything have something to beautify it, and the beautify the Quran is the nice voice. If somebody can read really nicely and give it really good music. And Anas bin Malik said, the Prophet ﷺ said that صوتان ملعونان صوت ويل عند مصيبة وصوت مزمار عند نغمة. Two sounds are cursed. People who are screaming when they had a musibah, and the muzmar, because some muzmar musical instruments are not actually liked by the Muslims because it more irritate the person and make him like more sexually alert or something. And the naghma, while mizmar Dawood is accepted. And the Prophet said to the Sahaba, you have been given muzmar min mazawir Dawood. And a person made nasheed with the Prophet ﷺ sitting, and he said, أقبلت فلاح لها عارضان كالسبج أدبرت فقلت لها والفؤاد في وهجي هل على ويحكما إن عشقت من حرجي هل علي ويحكما إذا عشقت من حرجي. So he said the poetry, and he hid his question in the poetry, asking the Prophet ﷺ, will I be blamed if I fell in love with someone? And the Prophet ﷺ said no to him. You will not be blamed. You loved somebody, might not get to marry her or something, but you're not to blame, because love is not in your hand. The Prophet ﷺ used to divide the things between his wives, and he said by the end, he said, Allahumma, this is what I can share, divide correctly, but don't punish me for things which you can't divide, I can't, which he meant love. Because he loved Aisha more than Hafsa. I love this. So it's the heart, meal. Love some more than others. And Allah said, Allah give people more nice voice than others. When they learned the adhan, the guy who heard the adhan from the malak in the dream came to the Prophet ﷺ and told him the adhan. He said, go and teach it to Bilal, because he has voice nicer than you. His voice is better than your voice. So it's not accepted in Islam that some has nice voice and some don't have. In fact, Ali ibn Abi Talib came to the Prophet ﷺ, because this is a big status, like, to be the mu'adhin of the Prophet ﷺ. And he said to the Prophet, shall I make the adhan? Because Bilal says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Like, because he's not pure Arab, he said, Ashhadu an la. And the Prophet ﷺ said to him, it is written by Allah, Ashhadu. So don't worry. It's written by Allah, Ashhadu. But he has nice voice. My teacher used to tell us this story. A scholar went to a village, and he found that the muezzin, he says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Hayya ala salah. What he dropped? And then he came to, your Imam doesn't say Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. How is that? They said, we want somebody to have nice voice. We couldn't find but a Jew. And the Jew said, I don't believe Muhammad Rasulullah. It's okay, never mind. We want nice. We want nice voice. So you do that and don't say Ashhadu anna Muhammad. Subhanallah, straight away. Abdullah. So, and they say that يزيد في الخلق ما يشاء الصوت الحسن وذم سبحانه الصوت الفظيع. So Allah Azza wa Jal told us that the sound of donkey is not actually صوت حسن. This is the words of the صوت of the sounds. And they're saying that the children really gets affected by the rhymes and by the music from the time they are born. Actually, just you put the music and his son will start. He's 1.5 years now.
I don't know, in Uzbekistan, when a baby born, mommy sings, the baby falls asleep.
Yeah.
They do.
They different children.
Allah.
Yeah.
I don't know what Allah.
Yeah, Allahu.
Allah. They make meaning, and then baby falls asleep.
Yeah. There's a lot of rhymes for different needs. Like when we want his son to sleep, we'll put and somebody put it on a video on the telly, half an hour. Usually after 5-7 minutes he will be asleep. Usually the rhyme 3 minutes, but this guy discovered this is a sleeping rhyme. So he said that probably the children born with this instinct to love the music, love the good sound, because when they heard Allah Azza wa Jal talking to them, when Allah Azza wa Jal said Alastu bi Rabbikum, when he took all the creatures from Adam, and he would make them witness that Alastu bi Rabbikum qalu bala. So when they heard Allah Azza wa Jal talking, they loved that kind of sounds, like a musical sound. It's really nice, and they love it. And he said even the camels, they listen to the hadda, the one who make the rhymes in the front, and especially they employ one to make this rhymes. ما أذن الله تعالى لشيء كأذنه لنبي يتغنى بالقرآن. Allah doesn't listen to anything more than listening to a prophet reading the Quran, reading the message of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is hadith an Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu. And when Dawood used to make the zikr or tasbih or say his rhymes, Mazamir Dawood, the psalm, what they call them, the Psalms of Dawood. All the jinn and the human and birds and animals come and listen to him. They stand and listen. And the Prophet said to Muhammad, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, said to him, لَقَدْ أُوتِيتَ, you have been given one of the Muzmar of Mazawir al-Dawud. You've been given Muzmar from Mazamir al-Dawud. Because he was very nice voice. And he said to Muaz ibn Jabal رضي الله عنه, لو علمت أنك تسمع لحبرته لك تحبيرا. When the Prophet was listening to Muaz reading the Quran, Muaz wasn't noticing, he didn't notice. When he finished, he said, nice music, I was really enjoying your reading to the Quran. And the Prophet and Muaz said, if I knew you were listening, I would have made it even nicer. It's like when you listen to Abdul Basit, he has the 3 ways in reading. One of them takes long time. I mean, when he talk about Yusuf alayhi salam, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا وَقَالَتْ هِئْتُ لَكَ وَقَالَتْ هِئْتَ لَكَ وَقَالَتْ هَيْتَ لَكَ وَقَالَتْ هِي, yeah, you know, when you repeat it, and each one have different reading. And the best reading to the Quran I ever heard was when we went to Jerusalem, and there were Abdul Basit reading Surah Maryam, and we were going to Jerusalem, listening to when Jibreel came to Maryam and told her that she will have Jesus. And there's quite a few stories. One of them, a guy went on a journey, and he was invited by a tribe leader. And when he went inside, he found that there were a lot of dead camels, and there were a guy who was, tightened with ropes and things. He said, what's happening to this? He said to him, this guy made me poor. I was rich, he made me poor. How he did that? He said, he took my camels to eat, and he was singing, saying poetry and things. It was so nice. He managed to get the journey in 1 day instead of 3. And when they arrived back, they sat rested and died. They were so exhausted, but they were enjoying themselves with the sound that they got the space in 1 day instead of 3 days. So I don't want them. He killed all my camel. And he said, okay, I'll take him. No, he said to him, take him if you want. He said, what? He said, you take him. I don't want him. I don't need him anymore. And he took him with him. And on the way, he said, he wanted them to, فَأَمَرَ الْغُلَامَ أَنْ يَحْدُوا عَلَى جَمَلٍ. So he said to this guy, make hida, song to this camel. And he started doing the song, and the camel became very irritated, cut his ropes and ran away. And he said, I don't want you to make anything anymore. Just keep quiet. And this is the one I mentioned, that children like the nice music from when they were spirits created and Allah spoke to them. And they're saying here sometimes the nice songs and music could be haram for the lay people because they don't pay attention to the meaning, and they could be taken by the music, like this concept, like jumping up and down. They don't know the meaning, just taken by the music, and they could be so disinhibited and so rubbish and things. So while if you Yusri Jabbar talk about Kulthum, this known Egyptian singer, a lady, she actually know the Quran by heart and things. But he said most of her music, most of her songs are written by poet Ahmed Shawqi and similar, very beautiful meaning, really high meaning and things. But when people listen to it, they don't actually listen to the meaning. I personally have difficulty, unless it's written, to know what the English guy is saying. I don't know. Now jumping up and down, he's saying something, but then I found that they say the same sentence around 35,000 times, and the song finished. And when you look on the line, you know who freed the Mandela, Nelson Mandela? Who freed him? How his freedom started?
That's a song.
What's the song? Free Nelson Mandela. And people started, who's Nelson Mandela? And then they all started rolling. Who's Nelson Mandela? What came to abolish this nuclear disarmament? Who? No, you don't know? When two towns go to war, when two towns go to war, and they showed us Reagan fighting Gorbachev in a ring and hitting each other. When the two towns go to war, this will happen. The whole world will be destroyed, and then they started the disarmament, the nuclear disarmament. But there's no more music to finish the show. But music could actually have strong influence, political influence. I wish the people find some music like this, or the Palestinian, because this is what freed Nelson Mandela. Nobody knew who was Nelson Mandela until the song came. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. May Allah Jal make our meeting blessed and protect us after leaving here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا